What is going on, guys? It's Lando from the Snap Fantasy Football Podcast, and I am here to talk to you about Week 5 DraftKings, specifically the Millionaire Maker lineup. We're going to go over some projections, which matchups I'm targeting, which ones I think are going to be a little bit highly owned that I'm going to fade, and then my favorite plays under $5,000. If you want to jam in your high price studs, you got to have some guys under $5,000 per form on your DraftKings squad. So I'm going to go through each one of those plays. If you have a favorite play under $5,000, maybe I didn't talk about, drop it in the comments below and I'll let you know what I think about it, and we'll get it going here. So right now you can see here me going into the Millionaire Maker lineup. I'm going to go into quarterbacks here. We have Lamar Jackson as the number one ranked or price quarterback. They play Cincinnati. I said last week that I liked Lamar in tournaments. He was very low owned and he seemed to be a great play. If you stacked him with Mark Andrews, it was an even better play. We have Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson. That's kind of, again, that top 6 quarterback that are going to be very highly owned. These guys have been smashing every single week. I'm going to stay away right now of the Buffalo-Tennessee game. It just came out that Corey Davis tested positive and is going on the COVID IR list. So that game might not even happen. The Buffalo-Tennessee game might not even happen again. We're not sure what the NFL is going to do, but I'm not going to play any players right now from this, and we'll see how it goes. So if we go down the list, we've got Big Ben, Jared Goff, Gardner Minshew, Matt Ryan, Joe Burrow, Teddy Bridgewater, Phillip Rivers, Baker Mayfield. It's not great. I would say maybe Daniel Jones down at the bottom might be an interesting play at $5,400. That would be interesting. I do think that the Dak Prescott play is a little bit of a trap. He's been in the Millionaire Maker a couple times so far this year, stacked with a mix of Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, or Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, or Dalton Schultz as well. So I think he's going to be super highly owned. I might not play it, but I might play the other side of the ball. Deshaun Watson, for me, I think is in a really great spot against Houston. The narrative of Bill O'Brien getting fired, this team wanting to put a big win together in a very beatable Jacksonville squad, and I think that's a really good game stack. You could play Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller and possibly a tight end, or with Duke Johnson even Brandon Cooks is very high risk. He put up a 0 last week. He has a chance to also perform. So right now, maybe I'll put Deshaun Watson in there as a placeholder and go through the list as well. Running back, I really like Zeke Elliott. I think if anyone on the Dallas side, I do like playing Zeke. I'll throw him in just to start, but then I'll go down the list. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is in a really good spot after not really performing super well. James Robinson, if you want to play that Houston-Jacksonville game, is in a good spot. Miles Sanders has a tough matchup. Kareem Hunt, after Nick Chubb going down on IR for 5 to 6 weeks, should be in a pretty smash spot. Although they play a really tough defense in Indianapolis, I don't really know if he's going to be a highly owned guy or not, or he's going to be faded because of the Indianapolis offense. I think he's going to be pretty highly owned. Melvin Gordon, Mike Davis is in a good spot again. Joe Mixon after that big game. I'm not sure if anyone's going to play him because they play Baltimore. Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, his price has gone down. I really like Jonathan Taylor. I'm not going to talk about Singletary. McKinnon against Miami. Miami just bleeds fantasy points from the running back position. Kenyon Drake. Man, I got burned by Kenyon Drake last week. Hard. I got burned like crazy. And now I need to figure out if he's going to be worth it to potentially go back to him in a spot where I think he's going to be really low owned. Mark Ingram's going to be low owned. Darrell Henderson, after a lot of people played him, could be low owned. And then we're getting into these $5,000 running back spots. My favorite one at the $5,000 mark is going to be Antonio Gibson. He had a massive week last week. He might be pretty highly owned, but Kyle Allen is now a quarterback. We know he loves to check down. So maybe to put in there Antonio Gibson at the running back spot again. But I can keep on going through these running backs to see what other plays I like at that spot. So we have Myles Gaskin I'm willing to play. Chase Edmonds I'm willing to play. With this one here, D'Ernest Johnson, even though he was a big waiver priority, I'm not going to play D'Ernest Johnson. And you know what? If you want to go with J.K. Dobbins and Naheem Hines, I think those are both decent spots. So for now, I think really being going with Antonio Gibson is a great play to start, and then I'm going to talk about wide receivers. With Julio Jones expected to miss and Calvin Ridley putting up a 0 last week, I think Calvin Ridley is definitely in play. Hopkins is also in play at $7,900. He's not that expensive. He did not get in the end zone last week, but he still had a pretty good game. Arizona's going to be mad, and they're going to just probably try and destroy the New York Jets, and perhaps Adam Gase is going to be the next head coach fired. So both of those high-end options are in play. Who do I have at? I have Deshaun Watson at quarterback. I'm going to need Will Fuller in my lineup. So I'm just going to throw Will Fuller in right away. And because I want to play the game stack, I'm going to also throw DJ Chark in the lineup as well. So now I've got to get my other wide receivers, and I'm going to go straight down to the wide receivers that we need to fit in our lineup. We have Jarvis Landry at $5,000, James Washington, T. Higgins, Hunter Renfrow, T.Y. Hilton at $4,900. Corey Davis is on IR. John Brown again in that Buffalo game. I really liked John Brown, but not really against. Not really now that the game might be canceled. Obviously, I'm not going to play AJ Green, but I will play Darius Slayton at $4,800. He's probably my favorite wide receiver under the 5K mark. Christian Kirk got in the end zone last week. I'm not ready to rely on that. We still need volume from Christian Kirk to be able to play him, even in tournaments. Greg Ward saw some increased targets, but against that Pittsburgh defense, I don't really like anyone there. I'll probably have to play Zach Ertz in some season-long matchups, but that's as good as it's going to take. Chenault, I will play. If I wasn't going to play DJ Chark, Chenault is definitely in play. And because he has that questionable logo beside his name, he's even more in play, even lower owned. Mecole Hardman is probably my second favorite play under $5,000. So maybe I can fit in Hardman, and then in my flex, I'll go over everyone. And we'll see for me what other plays I like under or right around that $5,000 mark. Debo Samuel, very interesting matchup against Miami. He wasn't really involved, but he seems to be getting more involved, and they play Miami. That should be a really great matchup. Brandon Ayuk's not too far behind him, and I believe Debo Samuel is a much more talented player than Ayuk at this point in their career. Gasecki so here's one thing I'm going to tell you guys. Lately, it's been the wide receivers at the flex position that people are playing. So maybe going to a running back will get you a more unique lineup on the field. So potentially going with a guy like maybe Mike Gesicki or James White would be an interesting play instead of a wide receiver. But right now the wide receivers are absolutely blowing up. So I would say Myles Gaskin is also an interesting play at $4,800. Chase Edmonds, I believe, is definitely in play against the New York Jets. I think it could be a trap game. He might be a little bit higher owned at $4,700. He's a pretty good price. So besides this, Henry Ruggs, I'm not really going to play. Oh, let's see down this list. Golden Tate, I believe, is in play as well at $4,600. And further down this list, you know what, guys? I think I like. I'm not seeing Duke Johnson, I believe, is also in play. He could be another stack. So here we go. If I go Deshaun Watson, Will Fuller, and Duke Johnson, that leaves me pretty good. I've never been a fan of David Johnson. I think Duke Johnson could be very much involved. And at $4,100, that's a really good play. At tight end, I could pay up a little bit. You know what? Instead of going there, I'm going to go with my defense. This is how my lineup's going to get to. I could go with the Steelers. Steelers is a great play. I could go with Cincinnati, with the Ravens, the Rams. All these plays I have enough money for. If I want to get a decent tight end, you know what? I think Steelers are just a locked in play. 4,900. Generally, that's plenty for me. Dalton Schultz, good play. $4,800. He's been super involved. Evan Ingram, I believe, is also an interesting play. Is there anyone up here that I prefer? I mean, not really. Not really. Like, I know George Kittle's a great play, but at $6,600, I couldn't make that work. Down this list at the tight end position, my other favorite plays would be Darren Fells because Jordan Akins is banged up. And then potentially maybe Tyler Kroft. But right now I left myself with enough money that I could play a pretty decent tight end, and I will go with Dalton Schultz. Jonnu Smith would have been in play, but that game is in question. I just got a notification that you guys have seen that Lamar Jackson didn't practice, knee injury. I think he should be fine, but make sure to monitor that. We will do a live start sit Sunday morning to get you all up to date with any news, notes, start sits, what to do, all that stuff. So my lineup is Deshaun Watson, Zeke Elliott, Antonio Gibson, DJ Chark, Will Fuller, McCole Hardman, and Duke Johnson at the flex, Dalton Schultz, and the Steelers defense. So I paid up at defense, which I normally never do, but I think this is a good play. If you want to pay down at defense, all the way down at the bottom, I would say maybe go the Miami defense against San Francisco and Nick Mullins. Jimmy Garoppolo did start practicing this week, but I don't believe he will play. Other than that, I think that's the one to go with. Absolutely. Maybe the Texans defense, maybe Washington, but or maybe Cleveland, maybe Phillip Rivers, throw some interceptions. But I'm gonna pay up this week for defense and play Pittsburgh, and I've got $100 left, a little bit of money on the table. This week I played my favorite plays under 5K, and that's McCole Hardman, that's Duke Johnson, and that's Antonio Gibson right at that $5,000 mark. So hopefully you like the video, guys. I'm going to submit this lineup, $20 in the Millionaire Maker. Let me know how I did. I'm kind of going off of narrative street with the Texans, and then I'm running it back with DJ Chark, who had a big 2-touchdown game. Hopefully it works out for me, and hopefully it works out for you. If you like this video, please leave a comment and a like, and consider subscribing to the channel. Well, thanks a lot, and we will see you next week.